The thoroughbred is a magnificent animal, bred for speed, bred to compete, the sport of kings.
Wow, West Coast has it by 6.
It's the all-new Let's Go Racing from Parks Casino and Racetrack. It's action-packed and fun for the entire family.
3 of them are right together with 1 furlong to go.
Let's Go Racing is brought to you by the Pennsylvania Thoroughbred Horsemen's Association. It's fun to see them run. 15 years ago, Smarty Jones made racing history as the first undefeated Kentucky Derby winner since Seattle Slew in 1977. He went on to win the Preakness Stakes by a record margin of 11.5 lengths and just missed winning the Triple Crown in the final strides. On Smarty Jones Day, we celebrate this Pennsylvania bred's greatness. The 18-year-old champion is here live, and in about an hour from now, we'll return to the track for the very first time where it all began. Get out your popcorn. It's a Smarty party next at Parks Racing on PHL 17.
When Smarty Jones left Philadelphia Park 15 years ago for a stud farm in Kentucky, one wondered if we would ever see him again at his home track just miles away from where Smarty Jones was born in Chester County. Named after the mother of co-owner Pat Chapman, Smarty became revered in Philadelphia and soon around the world. Today we welcome a champion back home and reminisce about that magical summer of 2004 as thousands have made 2019 Smarty Jones Day part of their holiday weekend. We've got chance of showers, some ominous skies in the distance, temperatures in the mid-80s. A full day of thoroughbred racing is on tap at Parks Racing in Bensalem in Bucks County. Along with Dick Girardi, I'm Neil Hartman. Welcome and happy Labor Day to our special coverage of Smarty Jones Day here at Parks Racing. You know, DJ, you and I covered Smarty Jones so closely 15 years ago. It is just such a special feeling to have Smarty back here where it all began.
Yeah, Pat Chapman really had wanted to do this for years, Neil, and they finally got her chance to do it today. And we're going to relive in the next 2 hours those 15 years ago moments, the Smarty Jones through the miracle of tape. It's going to feel like you're all back there again. But you and I lived it. We were there first with St. Joe's all the way through their undefeated regular season, and then you hopped on the Smarty Jones train for the 5 weeks of the Triple Crown. It was 209 days from Smarty's first race until his last. He hasn't been here in 15 years. He's here. He's back on the backstretch. We'll see him in about an hour and a half.
Dick and I are here just outside the winner's circle, and behind us is the paddock area, and that's where one of our members of this broadcast crew team will be joining us throughout the day, and that is Caton Bradar, who's joining us right now with a special guest. Caton.
Well, plenty of people to talk about and plenty of people here for Smarty Jones, though he has been away from the racetrack now for 15 years, but he stayed busy in the interim, serving stud duty in various farms, states, and even countries, most recently Uruguay. He got back to the United States, though, and where it all started here in Pennsylvania about 6 months ago. He now lives at Equistar Farm, just down the road. He shipped in from Equistar earlier today into John Service's barn, his old trainer's stomping grounds. Recognized John's voice when he heard it, took a little roll in the straw and settled right in. It's, as Equistar Farm owner Rod Eckenrode says, Smarty's a star wherever he goes.
You know what? You could tell when he came off, he knows where he is. He remembers home, that's for sure.
And his fans remember him. It's fitting that we're honoring him on Labor Day because Smarty Jones truly was the working man's horse, a real equine Cinderella story. He showed up for work and delivered every single time. And the fans have shown up for him. Thousands turning out during his Triple Crown run to see him train here at Parks Racing. They were here when he did his retirement parade 15 years ago, almost to the day, and they have come back in droves as well to see him one more time. Right now, catching up with a number of them, Kelsey Fabian roaming the grounds.
Kate, and even though dark skies are rolling in, it is not stopping anyone here on the Picnic Grove. Everyone so excited to see Smarty Jones. Tons of families out here this afternoon, and all of them patiently waiting for Smarty. We've actually got some fans here if you want to walk on in. We've got Karen. She brought out her 2 granddaughters, Callie and Riley, and they are very excited to see Smarty Jones. Karen's even sporting her Smarty Jones bag. So Karen, you're a longtime fan. We've got new fans here, though. Tell us a little bit about why you brought them
We
out.
got Callie, she's 10 years old, and Riley, who's 8 now. They both share a birthday. 7, I'm sorry. And we're here to see Smarty Jones. I haven't seen him in years, but hey, the girls are new to it.
And why did you think it was important to bring your girls out? Obviously, you're a longtime fan, so you wanted them to appreciate it like you do?
Yes, very much so. I think that they would enjoy it, the hoopla, the whole, just the feeling in the air.
Camaraderie of it all?
Yeah, that's it, sure.
Callie, are you excited to see Smarty?
Yeah, because I never saw him.
Have you heard your grandma talk about him before?
Yeah.
Riley, are you excited?
Yes.
On that note, we've got some excitement here. We're going to continue talking to fans throughout the afternoon. But Neil and Dick, I'm going to send it back to you guys in the meantime.
All right, let's head back over to Kate in the winner's circle. Kate?
So from the horseman's perspective, particularly with Smarty Jones, we know what he meant to the fans. Racing.
Well, they credit him with actually helping us get the slots bill through and the governor being behind it. So without Smarty, I'm not sure we would have slots. But it's been a terrific day, and he was a terrific horse. Unfortunately, I was there at Belmont when he got passed, and 50,000 people were totally silent and surprised. But it was great.
Heartbreaker for all of us.
For coming out also.
You mentioned about not knowing about the slots without Smarty. I'm sure all of this wouldn't be possible without your leadership and the Pennsylvania Horsemen, so congratulations.
Thank you.
What we've been waiting for this afternoon, Smarty Jones' arrival at Parks Racing in just a moment.
If you want action and you want it now, you got to get the new Parks Racing mobile app. Wager and watch thoroughbred and harness racing from around the world. With the Parks Racing mobile app, it's easy to open and fund your account. Then place your wagers and cheer on your horse as they thunder down the stretch. With the Parks Racing mobile app, you'll easily make withdrawal requests, view the previous day's replays and results. Plus, open any new account now, and you'll be automatically enrolled in the Parks Rewards program. The more you wager, the more you earn. Get the new Parks Racing mobile app and get in on the action.
He's a winner. He's a champion. He's an icon. He's a legend. And now he's back in Pennsylvania. Smarty Jones, Kentucky Derby winner, Preakness Stakes winner, standing at Equistar in Annville, Pennsylvania. The quintessential Pennsylvania bred has returned. Smarty Jones is back home. Please call Rodney Eckenrode or visit EquistarTrainingAndBreeding.com.
So Smarty Jones making the about 5-minute walk from the backside where the barns are located here at Parks Racing, and making his way out to where everybody have been looking at the Preakness and the Kentucky Derby trophies. A lot of fans taking pictures with those trophies, Dick Girardi.
Yeah, Pat Chapman brought them with her today and let all the fans, as you said, take pictures as Smarty comes on the track. And that's Rodney Eckenrode on one side of Smarty.
On the right.
On the right, as we're looking at it, Rodney runs Equistar Farm up in Annville, and on the left is Mario Arriaga, who is Smarty Jones' groom through his racing career as he heads up the home stretch toward the walking ring right behind us.
All right, so we're going to have all the festivities for you here at Parks Racing as it's Smarty Jones Day, but do you remember 2004? Do you remember the first week in June? Do you remember when Smarty arrived at Belmont? It was just an unbelievable scene with everybody interested in what was happening with this wonderful horse that was trying to become the second undefeated Triple Crown winner in 2004. The first was Seattle Slew in 1977. It has since happened, of course, with Justified doing it last year. But at that time, Smarty Jones was the talk of the sporting world. And here's Bruce Casella with a look back.
Smarty Jones began his trek northward to New York at 9:27 this morning from Philadelphia Park.
You see people lined up along the road all the way on the turnpike, coming out of their places, waving and hollering, busloads of kids. You know, I'm 64. I've never seen anything like that in my life. Right? You would have thought the president was coming or something.
He arrived at Belmont Park 2 hours and 23 minutes later, and the contingent of media welcomed the colt to New York in style.
Smarty Jones, the biggest box office attraction to hit New York in some time, we expect.
Meanwhile, inside Belmont Park, trainer John Service was participating in the draw for post positions.
The way I got it figured, there are 2 post positions left, 1 and 9. One of those will be Smarty Jones, and it's number 9.
When it got down to the last 2 numbers, I'm much happier with the 9 than I would have been with the 1, obviously. I think it'll give us a nice run of the first turn, and you know, kind of the game plan that we've had all along. Stu can just watch what's going on inside of him and sit out there and get comfortable and decide on where he wants to be.
After the draw, Service was off to see his horse. Smarty was safely inside barn number 5, stall number 10, 3 stalls down from where the immortal Secretariat once stood before his historic Belmont race.
This is it. This is it. We're getting down to the nitty-gritty. What's the matter, bud? Huh? He looks good, but he don't like that guy back here walking around. I can tell you that right now. Put that whole bale in there, Mario. All right, put the whole bale in. Get a nice bed laid down. He's ready to lay down. Look at him, look at him. I knew him, you were right.
After adding a few more bales of hay, Smarty was ready to relax in his new home.
You know what, Mario, let him go. Let him go, we'll put it in when he's done.
All right. And there is Smarty Jones making the walk with Mario and also with Rodney. And, you know, Dick, they're a little concerned about maybe Smarty being a little too excited to be back on the track.
That's correct, because I mean, look, he's a racehorse. He was a racehorse for those from November of 2003 to June of 2004, and once a racehorse, kind of always a racehorse. So they get concerned when he get keyed up with all these people, and I mean, they are standing, and Smarty is by the outside rail, nearer where all the people are standing on the apron and in the picnic grove, and they're just walking them slowly so everybody can get a shot, maybe a picture or to just yell, have a sign or whatever. But Neil, this is exactly the same scene that happened here 15 years ago. They walked him up the home stretch. You can see some of the fans there looking out to see Smarty. He'll come by our location here beyond the winter circle in a little bit and then be in the walking ring, which is right behind us. But they're taking their time as well they should. But yeah, I think they're okay. He looks fine to me. He doesn't look too keyed up. I think everything should be fine. And there's Danielle Montgomery, who's right behind there, runs a Turning for Home program here at Park. She's involved in making sure this all goes according to plan. And certainly Rodney and Mario have been around horses forever and ever.
And for Smarty Jones, 18 years old now, 18 years old.
Yeah, and it's so cool, I think, for his fans, and you get a upshot from up high, all his fans to get to see him. He hasn't really gotten to where the people are yet near us, Neil. He's pretty far down the home stretch. That's Danielle to the right there, Rodney Eckenrode to the right of the horse, and again, Mario Arriaga to the left. And they're giving the horse as much time and space as he needs, and they're just now getting up to where the fans are. And I'm sure there are people here, Neil, who were here 15 years ago, including that lady we heard from a little bit ago who drove up from North Carolina. And I see right in front of me standing here is Trish Bowman, who became a horse racing fan. She grew up here in Bensalem when Smarty Jones took the track here. And now she actually works in the business. She's been in the business for a couple of years now. It's really incalculable how many fans of the sport, permanent fans, Smarty Jones made in his run through 2003 and certainly the spring of 2004.
And I think John Service, who is scheduled to join us up here on our set location in just a few minutes, but John, I think, is really credited for really bringing this sport to millions of fans that might not have been following the sport, and really an extension of Smarty and the popularity of Smarty was what the trainer John Service and how he handled himself during that time period.
Yeah, it's an amazing story, Neil, how John ended up with the horse. I told you the story the other day. I mean, the Chapmans were down to just a couple of horses. Their trainer, Bob Kamak, had arranged the mating that resulted in Smarty Jones, and he tragically was murdered by his stepson, who also murdered Bob's wife. Then they were looking for a trainer. The Chapmans went to their original trainer, Mark Reed, said, look, we need a trainer. We have a couple of horses left. He recommended his assistant, John Service. Mark and John worked together for years, and John, who's walking up on the set now, he's never really been in the spotlight. He'd had some good horses before, but all of a sudden he's not only in the spotlight, he's in the center of everything. And he said to me early on, he says, how should I deal with this? And I've known John forever. I said, just be yourself. And that's exactly how he was. He was great. I still have people today in the business come up to me and say, nobody under that kind of pressure has ever been better than John Service was in 2004. And John has just come up on the set. We're going to get him mic'd up, and we'll talk to him in a second.
And the great quote that you have from Mark Reed, the horse was great, John Service was greater.
Absolutely. No, he was brilliant. Look, he ended up losing one race. It had nothing to do with the trainer or anything else. The horse ran great all the way through, and here's John.
You know what? I haven't seen you in a while.
I know. It's been a long time, Neil. How you been?
I'm wonderful. It's so nice to see John Service here with us. What is this moment like for you to have Smarty back here at you know, Parks Racing now, but we'll still refer in this sense Philadelphia Park.
Well, I'll be honest, I was a little concerned early on when I went back to the barn after he had arrived and I saw how much he had settled in so well, and to see all the people and the excitement, and it brings back a lot of memories, and it's awesome. It's really good.
And you can hear the crowd in the background now.
Oh, they love it.
Does this bring back memories too, John, from 15 years ago in August of '04 when basically the same thing happened?
Yeah, we paraded him in here when we retired him, and there was a huge crowd that day, and as you can see, there's a big crowd today. Mrs. Chapman helped leading him over. The gentleman on the offside is actually Mario De Jesus, who was his original groom throughout his whole run. So that was nice that we got Mario back here to do this.
And what about the Chapman family? And Pat Chapman, of course, Roy Chappie Chapman passed away about a year or two after the wonderful run in 2004. But what about Pat and what she meant to this whole euphoria surrounding Smarty Jones?
Well, you know, the Chapmans were great throughout the whole run. Pat, you know, since Chappie died, Pat has been fantastic. She's made sure that, you know, that the legacy carried on, and it was her idea to do this. You know, she wanted to do it for the fans, and I'm telling you, she's probably enjoying it more than anybody.
Yeah, and they're just coming in right now, Neil. They're going to be right behind us in our shot.
He looks great, doesn't he?
He does.
When I saw him in April, John, when I went up to the farm, I said, this horse is 18 years old. How is that possible? Now you can see him right behind us as he's coming to the walking rings, and the fans are just lined up to see Smarty Jones.
Yeah, really cool.
So we had a person earlier from North Carolina drove up to get here to see Smarty Jones. You know, obviously a great impact here in Philadelphia, but far beyond the Philadelphia region. And that was one of the amazing things about the popularity of Smarty.
Yeah, well, when I went back to the barn to see him, because he got here probably around 12, a little after 12, and I had a horse in the first race. My son had one in the third race, so I wanted to help, you know, hang out and watch his horse run. So I went back after the third, and Rodney, who has the farm where he's at, we started talking, and I didn't realize how popular he still is. He said, John, just as an example, I came out Sunday morning, there's people sitting in my driveway that wanted to see Smarty Jones. They just drove up, pulled in the driveway, were waiting for him to get out of bed, I guess, to come and see him. And he said the phone never stops ringing.
He told us when we were up there in April, John, there was a guy on his way from Boston to Keeneland. He says, hey, I need to stop in Annville, PA. There's no other reson to stop there other than to see Smarty Jones.
This is Smarty on the walking ring outside the paddock, and we'll then make another move towards the winner's circle.
Where he last was.
How does Smarty get a little feisty right there? I mean, we can't really get inside the mind of that horse right there, but what do you think's going through that horse's mind, as you know the horse as well as anybody?
Well, they don't forget. You can see the veins starting to pop on his neck a little bit. You know, he knows where he's at. He knows this is the paddock where he raced, and you know, all the people cheering. You know, memories are starting to come back to him. You know, hopefully everything goes great. He gets back to the barn, settles right down, and thinks about being a stud again.
John, was here for his first two races, November of '03, won his maiden by 7. Then you've always told me the story when he won the nursery by 15, and just you were almost concerned because he was doing what during the race?
Oh, he wasn't concentrating on running, I can tell you that. I mean, he had the one hole in a full field, and I told Stu, I said, you know, you probably ought to ride him away from there 3-4 jumps, get him running, at least establish some position before everybody comes down on you and you have nowhere to go. So when he broke, Stu got him running, and when I say got him running, he was flying.
So Stuart Elliott, you mentioned Stuart Elliott was the jockey for Smarty Jones during that wonderful run, and he's now racing in Oklahoma.
He's at Remington Park today in Oklahoma. It would have been nice if Stu could have gotten here, but he didn't. But, yeah, that race he won by 15 lengths, and that's the moment, John, where you said that the Chapmans, hey, we got to think about the Derby.
Yeah, well, it wasn't the Derby, but after the race, I got Mr. and Mrs. Chapman together, and I said, you know, we need to really sit down and talk about plans for this horse. You know, didn't know yet if he'd stretch out that far. You know, there was a lot of questions. So we decided to keep him up north until we got that long race in him, and then when he ran so well, he went straight to Arkansas.
All right, that was at Aqueduct in early January, and that's the only race Pat didn't see in person. She watched it, John, at the dog track in Naples, Florida, near her house, but she didn't miss any of the others, and she's here front and center tonight.
You know, Smarty just went by us. the head looking right towards the fans.
Oh, yeah.
Amazing. It's amazing. John, listen, we thank you for coming over here. It's wonderful to see you. You have done so much for this sport.
Thank you.
You know, a novice like me back in the day, you taught me a lot about horse racing, and I can't thank you enough for coming by here. And, of course, this guy to my right, he's taught me a thing or two about horse racing
sharp.
as well.
He's sharp.
He's not bad. We'll keep him around here for a little
Thanks
while.
for having me.
Head over to the winner's circle. I know you want to be with Smarty. So John Service, the trainer for Smarty Jones, also having a couple horses here today, racing as part of the card here at Parks Racing. And what a wonderful look at Smarty Jones. Looking a little feisty to me, DJ.
Definitely. No, I think John is right. They do have memories. It's been 15 years, but they remember what it's like. And this is a horse who raced 9 times in his career, Neil, at 9 different distances. And he was in the winner's circle in 8 of those races. It should have been there in 9. Unfortunately, got ganged up on by some other jockeys in the Belmont. Was a deserving Triple Crown winner. But you know what you remember? You remember the good times, the Preakness by the winning biggest margin in history, the Derby on that hideously sloppy track where Stuart Elliott gave him a brilliant ride. And it's great. He hadn't been in that winner's circle since November of 2003. And for me personally, I was out here so many mornings watching him train between the Preakness and the Belmont, just waiting for that moment when he headed up to New York. But it's just very cool as he now heads back to the barn, and the fans will get a chance to see Smarty as he walks back down to it.
I want to point out Bill Foster, the stable foreman, who died 2.5 years ago. He was Bill's or John's right-hand man.
Absolutely.
And you saw him in Bruce Casella's story just a little while ago. And I remember a quote that he told me. He goes, "Smarty was my friend."
Yeah, that was Bill. He really helped Bill get his life back. He kind of dropped out of life, and Smarty brought him back. And I remember on their way to the Belmont, Neil, I was in the entourage following, talking into my tape recorder for a story to write for the Daily News when I got there. And I was talking to Bill on the way up. He was telling me what he saw as he's on the turnpike and on the George Washington Bridge. It was one of the great memories I've had in covering horse racing, but no more fun ever than the spring of 2004 with Smarty Jones.
Those are 2 valuable trophies right there, the Preakness and the Kentucky Derby.
And that's Sherry Service there, John's wife.
John's wife, Sherry, is there as well. But what a wonderful scene there here in the winner's circle. For John to stop by here was very nice of him, but now to take in part of the celebration here. And there is the cutout of Bill Foster.
There it is. That's Big Bill right there. We got the cutout. Bill died in March of 2017, and anybody that knew him, he was a racetracker through and through. I mean, he loved the game. He lived the game. He lived on the track forever. And I know he'd be thrilled. He is here. That's why they brought the cutout. They actually spread Bill's ashes on the track this morning. John Service was out there with his wife and his 2 sons, Tyler and Blaine, and they wanted to do it on Smarty Jones Day. And I think for Pat Chapman, Neil, she was so excited about this. She said when she woke up this morning, I saw her earlier today, she was just like, it's finally going to happen. I think this has gone off about as well as she could have ever hoped for as Smarty Jones heads down the home stretch. And that is the Derby and the Preakness trophies, and they are forever.
It was 209 days between Smarty's first race at Philadelphia Park and the final race at Belmont. Birdstone edged Smarty at the finish. 9 races, all different lengths, and it was that one length at the Belmont Stakes that kept Smarty Jones away from being named a Triple Crown winner.
Yeah, look, anybody who understands horse racing realizes what a special talent this horse was, because he never got a break from his first race to the Belmont, and it's so hard to get through that Triple Crown. And look, it's only been done 13 times in history, and Caton's got Pat Chapman in the winner's circle. Can't wait to listen to Pat.
Who do I look at? Where do I
let's go over. Kate, can you hear us now? Let's go to Kate with Pat.
We do. It's hard to hear with all the cheers of the fans. Pat, this was really important to you to have the opportunity to bring him back here. What does it mean right now?
Oh, it's just an incredible feeling. I told everybody that when I got up this morning, I felt like I was to a stakes race. It was so I wanted to do this for a long time, and it just didn't seem the right moment until now, this year. 15 years, and I hadn't even thought of that. 15 years after.
And when you're watching him walk down the track and respond to the crowd and look as if he could go right back to the racetrack, what goes through your mind?
I'd like to put a saddle on him and try it. But no, words escape me. I can't think. It means an awful lot.
from the very beginning, you've seen the fans' response to him. From the moment he got on the Triple Crown Trail through the Derby, thousands of fans coming here to watch him train up to the Preakness and cheering him on all the way through his retirement. What do you think it was about him that so appealed to so many people?
Well, I think they liked the name, number one, but I think they liked that he was from the track he was from, that it showed that, you know, the little guys have a chance, as my husband called us, ham and eggers. And, you know, we weren't the big Kentucky Derby, Kentucky breeders, and here we are. And if we can do it, it gave a lot of people hope that they could breed a winner, a good winner. And I think that, I don't know, the magic was there. I don't know, I often wondered what all was involved with that magical trip. It sure was.
I won't put you on the spot to ask what stands out about that trip, but I would imagine that today will be another one of those amazing memories.
It will be. It's every bit what I hoped it would be. I'm so pleased. You know, you hear the crowd, you hear these people. This is why I wanted to do it, because they helped make it the horse who he is, and I wanted to thank them one more time.
Well, with so many emotions surrounding the horse and so much on the line to get an opportunity to see him, I know the fans and all of us say thank you to you for bringing him here. Well done.
Oh, and thank you all for being here. It's been a wonderful day. I love it.
Even off the racetrack, guys, the amazing thing through the Triple Crown is, and onward through retirement and even to today, 15 years later, that Smarty party rolls on.
Turning for Home is a nonprofit that has provided nearly 2,800 former racehorses with a safe retirement. The program was created through the foresight of the Pennsylvania Thoroughbred Horsemen's Association.
We all love animals, and to give back to something that helps us so much, it's a great thing.
Responding to the need for a better system that addressed the uncertain future for the retiring equine population at Parks Racing, the PTHA rallied horsemen to support the program.
These horses can do anything from hunter jumpers to Western to therapeutic riding.
Turning for Home became the first on-track retirement program at a year-round racetrack.
We want to make sure that our horses that have run so well for us over the years get the great opportunity to get a new vocation.
Out of everything that we've done in Pennsylvania for racing, I think that's the thing we can be most proud of.
If you would like to help these amazing animals find a great second career and forever home, please give us a call or contact us at turningforhome.org.
Well, there's a look at Parks Casino and Racing, Smarty Jones Day here on PHL 17. Neil Hartman along with Dick Girardi. It's been a wonderful day, DJ.
Neil, it's gone absolutely as well as anybody could have ever hoped. The weather was crazy for about 30 minutes. Then, of course, it lifted when Smarty Jones came out. And more than anything, I'm just really happy for Pat Chapman, she was the one, as John said, she made this happen. And for her to have this kind of day is just awesome.
It's been wonderful for us to be here with you, and thank you so much for joining us. For Dick Girardi and for all of us here at Parks Racing, thank you for being here. And let me also thank our executive producer, Bruce Casella, and our show producer, David Bruner, and director, David Newman. And for all of us here, also I got to mention Kelsey Fabian for her efforts in the Picnic Grove area with all the fans. It's been a special, special day at Parks Racing to see Smarty Jones back. So, Smarty Jones back in Philadelphia one more time. Good night, everyone.